you have to let the world to follow you. My name is Austin Sithole of NX Cop, NX17 Cop. This is my very first podcast for the year. People often just exist. They figured because this is how they found things in this world, therefore this is how they should leave them. Meanwhile, the truth of the matter is that things will only work for an extent or for a certain amount of time. Thereafter that, things will start being slower. They will start losing their grip. They will tire, and they will no longer satisfy the need that they satisfied before. Therefore, things become inefficient over time. But because people are they can be quite redundant. People find systems because they found systems a certain way. They believe that they have to leave those systems as they are. They believe that those systems are meant to be that way, and therefore they do not touch those systems. And those systems continue to exist in their inefficiency, and they do injustice to the ever-evolving world. Our technologies are certain things are getting improved on a daily basis, and yet human intellect, human connections, humanism itself is quite inefficient in its time and its development. I'll raise this point in this podcast because a lot of things need to change for things to change. That is quite confusing, but all I mean is that we cannot solve problems the same way that we used to solve them. The education system, as we know it, sucks, and it will continue to suck unless it is changed. And the health system itself is not as good and as efficient as it should be either. And pharmaceuticals and all these things need to be sorted, including petroleum engines. The guys that discovered these things, they found a solution for a problem at the time, and that problem was solved, and it works. It's not that it doesn't work. It does work, and it did work, but it is no longer as efficient as it was when it was first discovered. I'll give you an example. Think of the 3310 phone. The 3310 phone, when it first came out, that phone was amazing. A lot of people I remember my mother actually going to the store with my mother. She bought that phone for 1,500 Rand cash. That phone, if you had it, you were the elite at the time in your class. But pick up a 3310 phone right now and give it to a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, and they'll just throw it into the bin or hit you in the face with it because it is completely inefficient right now. Now, my question that I'll pose to you is that is the 3310 a phone that doesn't work? What's wrong with the 3310? And I'll tell you right now very quickly that there's nothing wrong with the 3310 phone. The 3310 phone did what it was meant to do, and it still does what it was meant to do, but times have changed, and therefore the 3310 phone is now inefficient and outdated, and therefore needs to be changed, and it has been changed. Now we have iPhones, we have smartphones, we have every other phone that is 10 times, 100 times better than the 3310. That's very tangible. Now, this very same thing can be used and exists, actually, not just to be used, but it exists in every other aspect of our lives. The education system, for instance, it does work, it did work, it does what it was meant to do at the time that it was created. But right now, it is completely inefficient to our time and way of doing things, and therefore it needs to be changed. But people keep on following these systems. Government follows systems. They find systems that were created and put in place, and they follow those systems because they believe that these systems were meant to be this way, and therefore this is how they should be, and they should not be trespassed, changed, or disturbed in any way. And this is the problem for many of our problems today. So in this podcast, I just want to challenge you that you need to think. Just close your eyes for 1 second before I challenge you. Close your eyes for 1 second, for a minute perhaps, and just imagine, picture everything that is around you, everything that is surrounding you, everything in your closet, everything in the kitchen, in the seating room, everything around you. Picture the world in general, the people, the clothes that the people wear, the gadgets they carry, the computers, the paperwork. Think of the cell phone, the camera you have, and every equipment that you have, anything that you're using. And I want you to just, as much as you know this, but I want you to take it in, and as though it's a moment of silence, but I want you to take it in, and just the fact that everything that you've pictured right now, it was created by a man. It was all just a thought. It was someone else's thought. It was someone who just thought and pictured something, and therefore it came into existence. And that is the true cause of humanity, of humanism. So if you exist today and if you leave, think of things that you can create. You can create anything. It doesn't have to be a gadget. It doesn't have to be an invention, but anything, even in your personal life, is all just a matter of thought. This is what I want to challenge you now. What are things that you think about? You need to think original thoughts, as much as there's no such thing as original thought in most cases, but have your own original thoughts and stop following the trends. Stop following systems. Stop taking things as they are, as you have found it. Start questioning things. Is this the best way this should be done? Is this the best way so and so, what and what the system should be? And if not, how can I improve it? How can I do it better? How can I do it more efficiently? How can I save more time doing the same task that I used to do for an X amount of time? This is now the challenge. This is the basic point and passion for this podcast and for my entire life as it is. I want to change systems, and I want to bring new systems into existence that will bring humanity to its next level. This is my first podcast in January 2019. I hope that you enjoy my podcast. But right now, what I would like for you to do is to get in touch with me if you have to, if you want to. Get in touch with me on WhatsApp on 078-255-7324, 078-255-7324. Talk to me, comment, and let me know what you think about this podcast and what I'm talking about right now. Maybe we could have an extended conversation about this. If you would like to email me, email nx17cop@gmail.com. That is N for Nelly, X for Xavier, 17, C for Cope, O for Orange, R for Range, P for Peanut, @gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.